Oh, this is uncensored. This is uncensored. This is uncensored. 1,131 views. Woo! You baby. Anyway, my previous episode of Boondocks, episode 4, the reaction video got over 1,000 views. So thank you very much for everybody. Obviously, a few loyal people who've been watching, commenting, subscribing. Thank you so much. It's crazy because I was looking at the numbers and some of my other videos have gotten like less than 100 views. Then it was 100 views. Then a few hundred views, maybe possibly over 100. And Boondocks has had always like a 400 or something. So it's already a lot more. Now with episode 4, there's over 1,000 views, and it's already so much more that when I look at the data, it only shows like 1.1k, which is funny because the actual numbers are got 1,131 or something. So it's already like rounding up the views that they used to be like a whole big point. 31 views was normal in some videos, and then over 100 views was like a breakthrough, and now it's already just rounding. Yeah, whatever, it's just 1.1k, and I'm like, oh, okay. Sorry that if I sound a little bit weird. I was traveling in Poland, so now I've been quarantining myself for about a week, obviously, try to be a little bit better with flu. And then one thing from Poland that I got was some vodka, I guess. I don't know what this actually is. Zoladkova Gorska. I don't know what that is, but something. This kind of mint thing. I was very curious because I think it's slightly kind of like a vodka thing or something like that. I'm not exactly sure. It's kind of minty, I guess, and a little bit sweet. And in Finland, we have a thing called minttu, which is like a mint vodka, Koskenkorva, whatever. So I'm very curious to see. So a little quick review of some Polish mint vodka. The aroma is very confusing. I don't know what it is. I'm horrible with taste, and I'm not a good wine taster. Oh, it is sweet. It is sweet. And that mint is like very herby mint. It's not like the mint of like you have a toothpaste, because that's like that freshness mint, which is what the Finnish mint has. This really is like the herb mint, like straight from the ground in my mouth with some Sovita vodka. Interesting. Quite like it, actually. That's why I got it. My wife knew that I would like it because it's sweet. We got 3 other bottles that we're going to try, different versions. But thank you, Poland. It was a great trip in Warsaw, I guess. Enough about me. This is a reaction video to episode 5 of the Boondocks. Fantastic show. Really curious to see what the theme is going to be, because up until now, that was weirdly said, because there's always been a reasonable episode, like a story-driven, and then a crazy one. The first one was just kind of establishing everything, and then R. Kelly. And the third one kind of like just talking about men and women and that kind of weird stuff, hoes. And then the fourth one was the classic, wait a minute, I'm white. Just walk away. So I'm very curious to see what this episode is going to be. And I saw some comments. I forget your name. I'm sorry. Wait, I'll check it. I guess I'm not going to make this into a habit, but I think in the name of over 1,000 views, I'm actually just going to straight up look at the comments on my previous video and thank them. Say to my Finnish friend, Sasora1360, niin Sasora, moikka moikka, kiitos paljon kommenteista. And then Shooterman40, he mentioned that his favorite season is the last season, that he thinks is the best one, which really motivated me because, like a show, Game of Thrones, like I told him, can just go down in quality. So with like Boondocks, I'm kind of like, I keep asking, where's the show gonna go? What are gonna be the next themes and stuff like that? Quite frankly, because like South Park is like, oh, it can be just shock value, or they can use it as a super interesting vehicle, this over-the-top crazy cartoon to like explore a lot of crazy subjects. So I'm very curious to see where the show goes. So if he's saying that the last season is something he really enjoyed, that's very good and interesting. And then I saw Daily Riot comment on my sock. Yes, you're correct. It's a woolen sock. In Finland, we have a lot of woolen socks, which honestly works pretty well because it's a natural pop filter, right? And I put it on like 2 layers, so essentially it has like 4 layers of sock on it, so it really helps with the airflow, but sound still goes. And obviously Freydids, thank you for kind of talking about what Boondocks means, referring to rural area. I had that idea, but I really wasn't sure, like, is it like super foresty or far away? I wasn't exactly sure. And obviously Price Maxer, yes, wait a minute, I'm white. It is one of the best lines ever. And I'm really, from now on, I'm not gonna really do this kind of shout out stuff because I feel like it's so unfair to some people who might comment, who might not comment. In R. Kelly videos, there's a lot of people who commented, so I just really appreciate anybody who clicks, who watches, comments, likes, everything. Really appreciate it. And I'm not gonna keep doing this kind of like shout outs because I think it might be unfair for some people who don't get mentioned, so this is gonna be the last time. But really, dude, incognegro, I can't say that name in videos in YouTube, but I really appreciate the very engaging comments. It's been super, super inspiring, honestly. It's crazy, isn't it, how random reaction video, random comments for you, it seems to be quite interesting to see my view on it, and because you take the time of your day to comment. But really, for me, it's been fascinating to engage with somebody online and really go into kind of in-depth conversation of various different cultural things. So I really appreciate it, man. Been super motivating. But that's it. Thank you for everything, and let's go with episode 5 of the Boondocks. Is this vodka, my Polish people? Oh, fuck. I think I've seen this part too. I think... Now I know who the character is. It's him. I got it. I never saw the context of this. Now I know what the character is. Oh, fuck. But this is a pretty outrageous thing. I am finished.
No, nigga. You ain't finished. I've been watching you. You ain't watched behind you.
I thought it was gonna go somewhere else. Oh, this is uncensored. This is uncensored. This is uncensored. He dropped the soap again. I'm sweating.
Was being sent to prison and anally raped. At the tender age of 10, Tom saw a prison movie which depicted the violent anal raping of a man.
American History X.
Before this, he didn't know the men got raped in prison.
It was between two white guys, though, skinheads, but still.
It'll most likely occur in prison. That fact scares straight-laced Tom.
My friend, I have an American Filipino friend. We were studying in this. We were studying together, and I was having a lot of like parties at my home because I was in the city center, and that's just get-togethers. Got it. So that's why he's like so straight razor. Yeah.
You know, Tom, this whole anal rape thing is really causing both of us to miss out on
That's
a lot in life.
a crazy line.
Tom still lived his life around
That's fair.
anal rape.
I think that's a completely fair fear. Yeah, exactly. That's such a interesting take on this. Anyway, my American friend showed some of episodes to our other friends who were Finnish white guys. And for whatever reason, I think because I was hosting, so I was like making drinks, engaging and talking with other people. So I saw it in the background, and I remember seeing that scene. And I have to be perfectly honest with you, it kind of didn't motivate me to see more. I heard them laughing, but I did see this. It was censored, and I was just like, and I just didn't want to watch it. To be honest, but it was in the back of my head, like I knew this was a good show, but you know that kind of original Xbox. I had that. Blah blah blah.
And so we're raising the terror alert level to intense orange red, based on very credible, detailed information
Absolutely.
on a non-specific threat. Could it be a hijacking? Absolutely possible.
Possibly.
Chemical or biological agent? You bet it could happen.
Hey,
Suicide
never
bomber?
know.
Hey, you never know. But what we do know.
Fuck, that's interesting. Was it really like that? Super vague but threatening.
My daddy was supposed to be home from work before school let out, and he isn't here.
See, that's fascinating because right now when I'm recording this, there's a lot of... I'm not going to get into politics, but I'm just saying about like Kamala and Trump election, which is just fascinating because you would think that that's a new thing of like this like, the world's going to end because of Kamala or Trump or whatever. But it's so fascinating to see that it was always that. You know, that was always the case where be it whatever American politics is very often like super vague and also like attacking you. Super like dismissive, but also saying absolutely this will happen. Because obviously it's a lot about kind of entertainment news that they just want you to click on things. He's such a fucking piece of shit. Fuck. That's true though. People do that. Fuck. See, again, he represents that like fucked up attitude. There really is this like attitude of like, I'm not going to get into it, but let's say bad things that happen to men non-romantically but physically, people don't really have a lot of sympathy for that. They do laugh about it, right?
And I don't think people usually get raped in holding. Hold on.
I don't know. That's a good question. Oh, fuck. He yelled.
Can't keep people in holding over the weekend. At 9 o'clock tonight, they're gonna put me on a bus.
See, again, this is so interesting because they're kind of also teaching you some screwed up things. Where I, as a Finnish, I was like, well, if they can't hold him, they're going to release him, right? But no, with this humor, they're letting you know this is what happens. Somebody who doesn't deserve to go to jail is shipped into jail, who's not ready for that. Very interesting. They show this in such an interesting way, where they're not ranting at you, saying that you're this and that, a phobe if you're thinking this and that. It's just showing that, hey, actually legally, they're not allowed to hold you in. Again, they're telling you the difference, right? Because a lot of people don't understand that there's a difference between jail and holding or whatever. I don't know that, but they're giving you information. This show is actually very informative. So now they taught me, actually there's a difference. And also, not only the difference is that holding is just, I guess, like that holding thing. And they can hold you there, ironically, through weekend, but they're not going to release you. They're just going to throw you in jail, which is exactly the horror image you have. This is such a clever way of like bringing that to light, because this is such a complicated issue for a lot of people to talk about, where, again, another thing, this show, the previous episode, was about black people being silly. It was. And now this episode is about, hey, it can be unfair. Such a clever way, because we had a previous episode which was showing again that some people can just be Karens, and Karen moments are universal. And now that if universally Karen moments exist, if that happens to you, you might get into a bad situation that you're throwing and holding. But because of whatever priorities, money, whatever, you might not be prosecuted or whatever, that the process takes long time, and you might be thrown in jail when you don't deserve it. Then that might really screw you over, literally. Super clever. The show creator knows exactly what they're doing, because if they had started with this episode, it might be for, honestly, white guys, white people, whoever, whatever, who has opinions and thoughts and different perspectives, might not have a lot of patience. I'm being perfectly honest here. I'm just being perfectly honest with you. So when they started with the Karen episode, showing how these are universal, they're difficult and tough, and then they go into this, showing how unfair it can be, it makes you a lot more receptive. Fascinating. That's well done. And now they're also showing this, like, violent people can also be, the goofy, dumb, idiot people can also can also be whoever, as in also white men. And somebody who is well educated, very nice. Do I have to like say it? The black guy him would be considered to be very white. Am I wrong? I was just watching Sopranos, and in Sopranos, Tony Soprano complained about white people because his neighbor was super white. His psychiatrist or whatever asked, but don't you consider yourself Caucasian? He said, no, I'm not talking about race. I'm talking about like the kind of people they are. So I feel like in America, when you say that somebody's like super white, you're not necessarily talking about like race. You might be talking like those kind of, again, kind of racist, but can be like a description of white bread, safe, whatever. So again, I'm just being perfectly honest. I'm kind of like boldened now that I can just say things how I feel like they might be. And I feel like, quite frankly, if you had to describe, he would be more of like a safe guy, educated, full of order. He's very well spoken how he talks. Like in South Park, they have that news episode where Cartman takes Token to the side and he says, I need you to talk white. He's like, what do you mean? It's like, okay, now I will do. And you know what I mean? It's this culture thing. Billy Bob in a trailer park somewhere isn't like white the same way. You know what I mean? And then the guy who's wearing a fucking collared shirt and sweater on top of it, like sipping a drink and being like, well, hello there. Like that's a different kind of white person. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? And now these guys are being thuggish and wannabe, cringy, whatever you want to call them. But they've got guns and they're stupid. So previous episode, they were stupid people with guns who were black, and now in this episode, there's stupid people who are white. So they're really, I think all of this is very intentional. Call me crazy. You can call me out in the comments, say that I'm overanalyzing it if you want. That's totally fair. I feel like I'm not crazy. That's true.
What ain't no country I ever heard of? They speak English in what?
What?
English, motherfucker.
I was gonna say that sounds like Pulp Fiction to me. I've actually never seen Pulp Fiction. This would be one of the reasons why I started this channel. I think I should react to Pulp Fiction at some point. I've never seen it, but it's such a famous line that I'm pretty sure that's what Samuel L. Jackson was saying. Who is the voice actor of that white guy?
He talking about diplomacy.
Because he kind of sounded...
I don't do diplomacy.
Because he kind of sounds like Samuel L. Jackson. What the fuck? See, again, reasonable, normal people and ignorant, violent people with guns. But they're really playing around with stuff. Who the hell are the voice actors for? Oh shit, for these white guys.
I'm
Is that... Are they joking about police as well? Or... I don't know. I just had a feeling about, like, we're actually talking with people. Because they're like, some cops are like super friendly with neighborhoods and then some who aren't, right? You see those videos of like a cop like playing basketball with full gear and like dunking on a guy and everybody's laughing, that kind of stuff. And then you have the not great situations, right? So is this like a take on some ignorant police behavior? Are they depicting the police kind of as wannabe thugs? Am I crazy? Am I completely off base with that comment? I was kind of ranting earlier, so they might have like very clearly said something that I missed, but still, because I'm just kind of curious who these guys like kind of depict, because they often depict something, and I know they're like these wannabe rich kid weird psychos and kind of showing that anybody can be a psycho and ignorant and weird and violent and dumb. Or is it just a Pulp Fiction reference? Huh? I really feel like it's a take on like ignorant cops. Because again, that like joke, I think that's a very common joke. It's like, you don't have a gun, but you do have a gun, and that whole thing.
Wait, I think I can see the gun now.
So is it just like bullying and fear and manipulation to like see what you want, to make other people see what you want them to see? Be it the news or cops or a terrorist or politicians, or people want to take action but then they're ignorant and then heat at the moment act stupid because they're ignorant. I don't know. Who the fuck are these guys? So are they saying that there actually were like terrorist people there, or is this just in their mind, in their head? So what, they actually do have guns though. Fear, terror, terrorist is him being afraid of anally raped, being anally raped.
Is that the bus that's gonna take me to real butt-pounding jail?
No bus. You're free to go.
Well, that's what I was wondering. Like, you would assume...
The Xbox killer struck again, less than an hour after we got to the mini-mart. If we had gone straight to his house, we could have prevented it. But at least Tom seemed to have dodged a bullet.
Yeah. I mean, that's what I'm saying. It's like, at least you, like, prevented him from going to jail. Murder is a murder. Like, you wouldn't know, would you actually be able to prevent that? The murder could have killed somebody, so, you know. Anyway, I mean, he could have shot the kids and all that, so whatever. So it was all in vain. Their craziness, roughhousing people, not really asking questions, not doing their job well, just beating people up and being violent and ignorant, acting thug. But then they still get, like, that kind of, like, recognition. Or is it more like America stuff, over like Americans going to war? Like, I think it's just all of it, like just this over-the-top craziness. But I don't know how much of it is like Pulp Fiction reference and a reference to something that actually happened or real people. I'm not actually really sure. Let me know like who these two guys are supposed to be. War heroes, thwart terror cell. Fascinating. Yeah, so I was ranting. Like, I went on a whole, like, 10-minute rant there. Sorry, I wasn't even really watching, like, why they hooked up with those two white dudes and all that. I kind of missed it. I kind of went back on it, watched it again. But super interesting take on it. Like I said, that they, in a very entertaining way, brought to light some of the difficulties and challenges of, like, the jail system. Because I would imagine that actually does happen quite often, that somebody who was a suspect was taken to, like, really into custody, like, into jail because of this or that, and they don't deserve it. And that can really screw your life over. Not only just like maybe for the future, but also just give you trauma and a horrible experience, right? It's a very fascinating way of showing that with entertainment. I like it. And I honestly, you can let me know, maybe this episode I was completely off kilter, like everything I said was just wrong. I was very upfront with everything I said. Maybe I've been a bit more careful in the previous episodes of trying to be like reasonable and not say something stupid. Maybe now I was a bit more direct, so let me know if I was completely wrong. But I think this show is very clever, and I think I know what the kind of person the guy is who made this show, because I can kind of relate to him. And I think honestly a lot of the things he does is very much on purpose. The order of things, the way he like presents everything, I think it's very on purpose. So I do think it was on purpose to have the previous episode, which was the Karen moment, and then have an episode now where there was a violent criminal who was stereotypically a black guy, but then at the same time show how unfair it is, like that stereotypical of, oh, the suspect is black, blah, 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 right? And just like getting somebody and booking them and throwing them in jail, and some ignorant dudes being violent and crazy, you know, not like wallowing in self-pity of like, whoa, poor is me, everything is unfair, but really just showing, hey, you know, that can be unfair and shitty. And I'm like, yeah, you're right. I can see that. I can see that happening. Now I know that there's a difference. Now I know some like rules. And again, I'm not saying that they're relevant today or they're even completely correct. I'm not saying that, but it's just bringing to light practically how some of these unfair things can happen. That's it. That's pretty much it. But anyway, really fun episode. It's so shocking because, again, like half of the episode went by and I was just like ranting about something that I don't know even was I right about, but I do like the show a lot because of that. Very refreshing to come back because actually I hadn't recorded a episode. You could see that I had the same shirt like 3 episodes in a row because I recorded everything on one sitting, and I tried the new setting. Actually, episode 4 had been published with a timer and I was in Poland at the time. So I haven't actually watched the show in a few weeks. So it was like super refreshing again to come back and watch this. So I'm going to watch a few more episodes, and thank you very much for joining me on the episode 5. Bye-bye-bye.